Welcome back. We're visiting with Brad Baldridge, and we are discussing taming the high cost of college, and more importantly, how to plan for what's going to happen down the road with somebody you love very, very much. And Brad, there's so much to this, much more than I ever realized. And I know early on when I sent my kids to college, I was one of those folks that said, I didn't know what to do. I really didn't know what to do. So for folks this morning, you've been doing this a while now. Are there some key mistakes parents and or students make when they're going through this process?
Well, I think the biggest one is failure to plan. There are loans available that will automatically fill all the gaps. So I think when parents and students make the mistake of not picking the right schools or not doing the right things, when they get all the way to the end, there's this safety valve where they can just sign up for a bunch of loans and that solves their problem. I mean, it kicks the problem down the road, really. But
Yes.
again, most parents aren't going to say, oh, we messed up. Let's, you can't go. We're going to have to start over and do it again next year. That's not an answer most parents are willing to. They'd rather just sign up for an expensive loan and move on from there, unfortunately. So I think as a kind of a mindset or a way to think about it, it's kind of like taxes. It's relatively complicated, but there are things that you can do that make things better, right? If you don't like how much you're paying in taxes, maybe you can pay for your healthcare a certain way or put more money into retirement. Same can be said around college. If you want to reduce the cost of college, if you do the right things, you'll get more need-based aid. Or if the student does the right things, maybe they'll get more merit aid or some combination of those things. But there's literally 100 or more tactics that you could use, right? If I do this, I'll get a little more need-based aid. If we do this, maybe we can apply for those scholarships. If this, then that, all that type of thing. But understanding how the process works and spending enough time to work it out or find someone to help you or whatever it is to, take advantage of all of these opportunities. First, you have to identify them, and then you have to go do what needs to be done.
Well, this sounds like something we started the show with. The sooner you start, the more opportunities to do whatever it is that is necessary to take advantage of this, well, the system as it's set up. Now, a lot of people, I bet, and I was one of those, I thought, well, I'm going to get aid, based on income and that. What should people know about that? Are they looking at their net income, their gross income? What are they looking at, their big house? What do they look at in order to get grants?
They look at all those things, some schools. So that's, again, the big it depends, right? So generally it's your income and your assets, but they exclude things like retirement. But they will look at, your primary income. They'll look at your assets like your bank accounts and your savings and your college savings and that type of thing. And they'll look at the value of your business. But what they do not look at is your pension, your profit sharing, your 401ks, your IRAs, and that type of thing. So anything that's really retirement is not considered. And they don't look at your primary residence for the FAFSA. Some colleges will look at your primary residence, but the FAFSA does not. So, kind of a double-edged sword there. It depends again. But again, I've got a calculator on my website. There's various calculators out there where you can actually plug those numbers in and see what it looks like. And then you can say, well, what if I, move that money in the bank into retirement? How would that change? And then you can do that calculation and see how it changes. But again, it's one of those things where you need enough time to think it through. So, I think people should be thinking about this sophomore year of high school, not end of junior year like we did when you and I went to college, where we didn't think about it a lot. We visited one school or two schools, and we just turned up at the local college, and that was that. Now it's a much bigger deal. We visit 5 or 10 schools. We apply to 5 or 10 schools. We, have different goals. Maybe we want to go across the country or out of state. And because it gets more complicated, it just takes more time and effort, both on the student's part and on the parent's part.
Well, and I know this is an unfair question because everybody's, each situation is different. But just overall, if you could, in generalities, what is the strategy to sit down and, let's say it's sophomore year now and we haven't really thought about it, Brad. What do we need to do? What are some of the things we could be doing right now? I don't know if it's moving or changing our income or taxes, or I have no clue. That's why you are here today, sir. What should I do?
Right. And that's the challenge, right? What works for some is not going to work for others, depending on your situation. But for some, it is need-based aid planning. I need to shift some income. I need to shift some assets. I need to do something in that realm. For some, it's, well, let's get our GPA from 3.92 to 4.0, because once we cross the 4.0 line, all of a sudden we get a bunch more scholarship opportunities and we're close. So just one more A and we'll have it. Maybe it's just setting up a savings and investing plan so that we put $500 a month away for college for the next 3 years so that we have a good start. It's not, should we have started when the kid was 3? Yes. Did we? No. It's water under the bridge. We can't change that, but you can start now. And then, parents need to talk about what are you willing to spend? A lot of times I'm sitting down with a couple and one parent says, oh, college is so tough for me. I really want to help my kids. I struggled so much. I don't want that to happen to them. And the other parent says, wait a minute, I struggled so much and I think they should struggle because it builds character. So even starting there, but getting parents on the same page of, how do they want to deal with college and how are they going to be fair among the kids and what's their bigger plan? Because another big picture thing is if you think you're going to spend a lot of money on college, because that's one of your goals, by definition, you should spend less on the size of the house that you have or the number of cars that you drive, or right. That's the give and take, right? Of more on college, less on something else, whether it's vacations or cable TV or you name it, right? But that big picture financial planning also comes into play for a lot of families.
Well, I think you make a great point. Initial conversation between the spouses probably is where it needs to start. But from there, you've made it clear that someone like you is very, very important. And talking to someone like you would be very beneficial. In fact, let me ask you, if people wanted to get a hold of you or go to that website, for instance, for those, the calculator and all the information, how would they do that?
Right. Just go to tamingthehighcostofcollege.com. We've got free resources, a free newsletter, podcast, the calculators and all that stuff. And there's also a phone number there if you want to pick up the phone and give us a call or, schedule an appointment through the electronic means. You can reach out through the website as well.
Perfect. Brad, it was a pleasure, man. Thank you very much for the time.
Thank you for having me.
And thank you for being part of the program today. And thank you for watching. We hope you've enjoyed today's show. If you have any questions or would like to know more, visit our websites at RaleighCW.com and myrdctv.com. I'm Bill LeMay. Thank you for watching Community Matters. We'll see you next week.